Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for joining us once again here on Instagram for another Waldorf Wine Wednesday. I'm Christian LaRoche, sales manager for Waldorf Wine Group here in Vancouver, and I'm so glad you could join us here. Waldorf Wine Wednesday, as the name implies, we do this every Wednesday, and for us, it's our way of highlighting basically everything Waldorf Wine Group, new products, promos we might be having, any products we're considering bringing in, yeah, lots of stuff, or maybe just a visit back to the cellar to look to see how a particular wine is doing. Hey, we've got a fun wine for you tonight, something really interesting, a little bit off the beaten path. Now, we've brought this in before. Oh, hey, listen, before I go any further, if you haven't done so already, please do follow us on Instagram. We're getting close to 500 followers. We'd love to get that number breakthrough. So if you haven't done so already, please do follow us. It's a good way to keep up to date with all things Waldorf Wine Group here in British Columbia. As I was mentioning before, we've got a really fun little wine today. Something, like I said, a little bit off the beaten path. Now, we've brought this wine in before. It's only available at private wine shops and restaurants here in British Columbia, what we call a restricted speculative products. It comes in six packs, which is kind of fun. It's a neat wine to play around with because it's definitely not a household name, but it's a great little wine for experimenting with. Yeah, I would almost call it a little bit of a hybrid style, maybe a bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing as well, but very different. We don't see many of them here in our market because there's just not very much of this grape planted around the world. I think there's not even 800 hectares or so, but really, really cool Southern Italian grape that I think kind of goes against the grain to what we normally expect from Southern Italy. We always expect, I think, these fairly robust, warm climate wines that can, sometimes verge on like dark brambly fruit, a little bit, a little bit more alcohol, maybe almost verging sometimes a little bit and a bit pruny in some of the not so great examples. Well, this wine goes completely in the opposite direction, I find. Now, as mentioned, we brought it in last year and we did really, really well with it. We sold through it quite quickly. We just got a reload of the new vintage. So let's flip the camera on. I'm going to show you what we're trying today. So we're in Sicily. Yeah, this is a Gergenti. This is Frappato grape, Terra Siciliana. It's an IGT. An indicator of geographic typicity, and it's an organic wine from Gergenti Winery. Yeah, lovely little label, and yeah, apparently got 96 points from somebody there, but for those of you keeping score. But yeah, it's a really interesting little grape. Let's flip the camera around once more, see a few more people joining us. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on Waldorf Wine Wednesday this week. I'm Christian with Waldorf Wine Group here in Vancouver, and we're talking Frappato from Sicily. Yeah, crazy cool little grape that we don't see very often. Normally when we see it, it's quite often blended with other grapes. As I mentioned in the intro, it's an old grape. Doing a little bit of research prior to this, it looks like it shares some DNA with Sangiovese, and which it was probably crossed with something in order to achieve Frappato. There was also some talk that the grape might have come over from the Iberian Peninsula, so probably Spain coming through. Sicily's kind of the crossroads of the Mediterranean, so. But again, we don't know, or at least it hasn't been in my research, what Sangiovese was crossed with in order to end up with Frappato. But it's a really cool grape. You know what I compare it to? I like it because it's one of these lower alcohol but full flavored, and it's a super pretty wine. You're not talking big tannins. We're talking about 12.5, 13% alcohol. Very gulpable. It's a really good warm weather red wine. It's a fantastic patio red. Now, I may not throw the biggest bloodiest piece of meat at this, but you serve this a little bit on the cool side. Maybe treat it like you would like a rosé, and serve it a little on the fresh side out on the patio. This would be a great wine for that sort of thing on a warm summer's day, sitting and sipping on its own, or maybe with some lighter fare. What I like about it, Frappato, is there's a certain playfulness about the wine. It doesn't have aggressive tannins. It's got a lot of pure, very grapey fruited. It's a very gulpable wine. You know the way I compare it? I almost call it in style a little bit like a Beaujolais, but on a Mediterranean vacation, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, softer, juicier red that takes well to a chill with a little bit of, small berried fruit and maybe some spice thrown in there in the mix. But yeah, very cool wine. I'm going to flip the camera on once more, seeing a few more people joining us. Gergenti Winery it's an offshoot of a company we've been dealing with for a long, long time, actually, gosh golly, for nearly 25 years now. It's one of a series of wineries that is owned by a Swiss family, the Schenk family, and Schenk produces wines all over actually all over Europe for that matter. Let's flip the camera around once more. Yeah, the Schenk family, they have a division solely dedicated to Italian wines called Schenk Italia, go figure. And they're based way, way up in north central Italy, near Bolzano, up towards the Swiss border in the Trentino Alto Adige, in Ora, in Auer, Auer province. And we've brought in some of the Lagerine from them many moons ago. We also bring in the Masso Antico, the Negro Amaro wine, which we featured here before on Waldorf Wine Wednesday, which will be coming back. We're also looking at bringing in a white wine as a sister wine to this wine, the Frappato. We're looking at bringing in some of the Grillo from Sicily as well as a Spec product. So pretty interesting stuff. Now, Schenk Italia was established way back in the early 50s, I think 1952 or so. Like I said, in Auer, just south of Bolzano. But they produce wines in Alto Adige, Prosecco, Tuscany, Montepulciano, Apulia, Sicily, Campania. They've got some wineries in Spain. They actually also own our supplier in Bordeaux as well. So we've been dealing with the Schenk family for a number of years. We haven't brought in any of the Swiss wines yet. We looked at that a few years back, but the prices were it's a bit tough in this market. There's only so much petite Arvine, I think, that you can sell in the BC market at the best of times. But hey, we've looked at that. We brought in some Syrah du Valais a little while ago, and some Fondant de Sirion as well we brought in the past too. So yeah, why not? There's room for lots of things. As I mentioned, Frappato, it's a close genetic relative to Sangiovese. I don't know what it was crossed with to Sangiovese was crossed with to give us Frappato. A little bit of a fussy grape. It requires quite a bit of care. It's thin-skinned. It's prone to fungal diseases. It needs warm, dry conditions. And the other thing is, it doesn't produce high yields as well too. So economically, it might be a little bit more trouble than it's worth for some people to do. And I know it's grown a little bit outside of Italy as well too. I think there's some grown in the U.S. as well, and possibly, if I'm not mistaken, possibly Australia as well. But all in all, a fun little wine. I see a few more people joining us here. Let's flip the camera and I'll show you what we're trying. Yeah, we're back in Sicily with the Organic Frappato Terra Siciliana from Gergenti Winery. This is the new vintage 2021. Young and fresh and juicy. It is a restricted speculative product here in British Columbia. Comes in 6 packs. The SKU is 400, 625 for those of you who care. Hey, you can reach out to me as well if you want to get some more details on wholesale pricing. Really great price quality wines. And these come in cases of 6 bottles. So fun wine to experiment with and let your guests or your customers try something a wee bit different here. Normally when we see this wine, we normally see it from blended with some Nero di Avola to in the form of Cerosolo de Vittoria as well. We see some examples of that. And we have seen a few examples also blended with other grapes like Nereo Mascalese and the like as well too. When it's blended with the Nero Diavolo, of course, the Nero Diavolo is going to give it a little bit more body and beef it up a wee bit. I find with the Nerea Mascalese, it's not too different than what we get here. Kind of goes down the same path. But I really like these wines. Hey, Easter's coming. It's funny. This wine has just literally started going out of our agent warehouse now to private shops and restaurants. So that there's not a lot of it about just yet. I know, I believe Liberty here in North Van got some. I believe Naramata General Store might have just got some. There's a few other places around town that should be getting some this week, so look for that. I picked up some samples a little while ago at High Point here, over near the PNE. Yeah, and a few places. I'm sure a few places on the island will be picking it up as well too. We did very well with it the last time around, so. What else can I tell you? This is from we'll pull up the Google Earth map in a little while, but this is from the western part of Sicily, southwestern part of Sicily, just southwest of Menfi. A lot of times we see a lot of the Frappato grown around Siracusa, and so I don't think we see it a lot. I believe maybe Planeta Winery might be doing some from the western part of the island as well. We might see some of that here in the market, and I know Koss Winery is here with their Frappato as well. I'm trying to think who else is in the market. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. We're doing Gergenti this week, so. Tell you what, let's flip the camera around and let's pull up our Google Earth map and check it out here. Quick second here. Oopsie, let's try that once more. There we go. Let's get the bottle out of shot. So, yeah, as mentioned, the Shank Italia is very, very far north, up near Bolzano, but for our purposes today, as I said, we are down in western Sicily, just here near Menfi, just a little bit southwest. So what this is, grapes are for on average about 25-30 years old. Here's Menfi, so we're just a little bit to the southwest, very, very close to the coast here. So fairly saline soils as well. This is all hand harvested, fermented using native yeasts. It's destemmed, and once it undergoes alcoholic fermentation in stainless steel, it's kept for about 4 months on the lease. And yeah, we're just down here on some of the saline soils here with a little bit of compact red clay. So pretty interesting stuff. It's a beautiful area. If you've never been to Sicily, you should check it out. We have great memories. We're there a couple of times. And even headed down to Malta when I was there with my wife many moons ago. Let's bring the bottle back into shot, and I think maybe it's a good wine to good time rather to give the wine a try. Yeah, as I said, I really like these wines. They're a wee bit different, to be sure. It's one of those more fruit-forward, juicier, medium-bodied red wines. So lower alcohol, full flavor. Let's check it out. Young, as you'd expect. This is actually a fairly dark one. I think this is a little bit darker than the 2020 vintage, but just a fairly dark red with a little bit of pinky rim, as you'd expect. Let's give it a swirl and a sniffy stiff. Woo! Very, very, very strawberryish, like wild strawberries and cherries. Floral too. I'm definitely picking up some rose petal in there, and a little bit of baking spice, maybe sort of like a cinnamon nutmeg deal going on in there too. Let's give it a taste. Now I'm serving this a little bit on the cool side. I kept this in the cold room, and when I pulled it out, actually popped it in my cooler here too for about 15 minutes, so it's nice and cool right now. This is the way I'd like it out of the patio. But yeah, super, super aromatic. Kind of a nice floral, savory nose. Mm. 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 Juicy. Mm. I love the texture. Really supple. That's a very gulpable wine. How's that? Soft, good juicy acidity. Just get one more sip. Mm. 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 Love it. Savory spice on the finish. Good juicy acidity. Love the roundness. That's a very friendly wine, I think, with or without food. What would I have with great pizza wine? And with Easter coming, this would be a great wine, especially with like turkey. Thinking dark meat, cranberry sauce, that sort of thing. Wouldn't harm a honey baked ham either. Mind you, I'd have to maybe decide between Mosel Riesling with a ham, or maybe a glass of this as well. But yeah, tasty red wine, beautiful, just in time for spring, summer, and patios and get-togethers and that sort of thing. So let's flip around, show what we're trying. We are on the 2021 Gergenti Organic Frappato. This is from Western Sicily. It's an organic wine. Closure. They've moved to a biodegradable Nomacork green, which is interesting. Starting to see more and more of those. That and the Diam corks, we're starting to see more and more from our suppliers. So there you be. So check that out soon, if not already, at private shops and restaurants around the province. Let's flip the camera on once more. Hey, a couple of notes of business. Like I said, we've got good stock of that. We've got probably about 71, 72 cases in the agent warehouse. If you have any questions, you want to get some pricing or anything from me, drop me a line. I'm Christian. That's KHRISTIAN at waldorfwine.com. Also, if you're interested, we are doing some spring cleaning. Yeah, our April specials have just kicked in. So got a few wines here that we're giving a little bit of a push to. We've got our Vallée Loire Saumur Red Cabernet Franc, our Vallée Loire Touraine Sauvignon Blanc. Each one of those spec wine, $1 off for the month of April. And we've got a heck of a deal on our certified vegan D de Dauzac Bordeaux. 6 packs spec, that's $3 off. Really great little deal for a 90-point wine. What that is, it's a side project of the Margaux Classified Growth Chateau d'Auzac, and they started producing a fully certified vegan wine a number of years ago, and we've done really well with that. It's back in stock, but want to give it a bit of a push. We've got a few wines in too that we're doing on clear out right now. We've got our 1 liter bottles of Dr. Cruzius Double X Nahe half dry Riesling. Love those 1 liter bottles. You get 2 extra glasses, and that's a really nicely priced bottle. We've got a little bit of our previous vintage of Domaine de Dragon Provence Rosé. Beautiful rosé right next door to Whispering Angel, but at a higher altitude. So the dragon is closer to heaven than the angel. Haha. But fair warning, it is last year's vintage that we had brought in. That's a great deal. We've also got a little bit of our Laurent Cognard Bourgogne Chardonnay from down near Montagny. Beautiful white Burgundy 2018 vintage. That's a great little deal. We've only got about 5 or 6 cases left of that. Anyway, if you have any questions on that, DM me. I'll hook you up with all the details. They will not last. So, hey, that's about all we have time for this week. Once again, if you haven't done so, we're trying to get up to 500 followers. If you haven't started following us already, please do so here on Instagram. Thanks very much. Take care, and we'll see you again next Wednesday for another Waldorf Wine Wednesday. Take care. Bye for now.